Hi, I'm Mindy O'Connor. I am the owner and principal of Mindy O'Connor Architecture and Interiors, which is just a full service architecture and interior design practice based in Philadelphia. I got into interior design really through architecture. I'm trained and registered as an architect and practice in both now. But I work on large homes, typically a lot of historic homes and new projects, and these can be gut renovations, additions, new work, but they often span over multiple years, and you get to know your clients really closely and develop a language, palette, and just a really great relationship with them. And it's just started to naturally flow into also working on interiors. I love working with pattern and colors and all of that extra elements that you can then incorporate. And for me, the combination just makes for a more thorough and harmonious design. I do a lot of work in Philadelphia itself in historical homes, also the main line, also New Jersey and all over the Northeast sometimes, but some of it's in Center City. Our practice is based in an area called Chestnut Hill, which is kind of a garden district in the city of Philadelphia. So it's a combination. It has a lot of older estate homes, all of which typically need a refresh, and they have, issues like spaces that were designed for house staff that's no longer relevant. They all often need major sort of overhauls in terms of kitchens, bathrooms, mudrooms. It probably ties in a way to my training and skills as an architect, but also my just deep love of buildings. I've been told that I tend to anthropomorphize buildings and talk about the space or the room, give it sort of human characters. And I bring the interest of the house, I feel like giving it a seat at the table with the client, meaning like the history, the structure, the materials, the light. And I feel that way, that it's important because whether you're working on an existing or a new house, it's going to have sort of wants and needs actually that are maybe aligned with the homeowners in mind and maybe differing based on just the conditions and the context. I think there are a couple of challenges that are pretty large right now, and they're related. One is just that it's hard to demonstrate the value of good design in a world where we are really, really saturated with design content, visual imagery. And I think there's something really wonderful about the access that exists now to design for everyone. I'm not knocking that. I think it's, fantastic, and it democratizes. It's not an elitist thing. I think that's great. I think what's challenging about it is it lacks context, and it makes everything seem like you could sort of snap your fingers and these design changes happen, and that it doesn't really rely on some of the expertise that people who work in the industry are trained in. Being conscious of sort of, just like with fast fashion, which is harmful to the environment, fast homeware and design is also, and I think we want to just take a step back, try to slow people down, make sure that you're reupholstering things where you can, getting vintage things where you can, or where you're specifying items just to make sure you understand the track record of the companies you're buying them from. There are tons of businesses that are investing in, sustainable practices in their production, but really researching that and trying to be thoughtful about it, so that I always like, from a design perspective, to leave anything I touch hopefully better than how I found it. And I think that just extends to the environmental situation. And it's challenging to do because it's a lot of different elements that you're putting together and trying to track, but you want to just sort of keep them out of landfills and keep toxic materials. I don't want to contribute to that. I am a lead professional. I adopted that pretty early on. I think maybe even 2009. So I have been for a long time, but I would say it's difficult to implement at the scale of project I'm working at. In larger commercial institutional projects, I think that there are, with very large firms, there's a lot of processes for making sure that that's happening and you're incorporating sort of good, sustainable principles, whether lead or otherwise. At the scale that I'm at, you have to contend with homeowners and their budgets and the value to them. One direction we've been leaning toward is becoming very interested in well, if I were to be doing new work, passive housework where you're relying on natural sources for heating and ventilation and as minimal systems as possible. But in older homes, you can't do that necessarily. So we talk about deep energy retrofits. So whenever we're going in and going to gut a project or any opportunity we have where the walls are going to be opened up and then things put back on, we're always looking to better insulate, to change the windows, to rethink the sort of air sealing of the project. And whenever we're faced with, well, this system is going to be replaced because it's 40 or 50 years old, then that's an opportunity to analyze it, do an energy audit, and put in something that will work, that will be more sensitive to those concerns. I have found many things. A lot of them are structural surprises that are unfortunate. I have found letters, really old letters, dated like envelopes. Sometimes we'll find signatures on the back of, you remove a piece of furniture to have it restored and you'll find the signature of the builder from 18 something. But more often than not, you'll find really weird structural conditions that are sort of either missing. We found really old fire extinguisher systems that are dangerous and need to be removed. I've had removed a floor before and found where we thought it was at the foundation level, at the basement slab level, and then found sort of 4 more feet of vault of space under there. And, there's a lot of speculation about what that was for, but you never know what you're going to find. I'm really bad at directions. I could get lost anywhere, which I always think is a little bit surprising for someone who spends almost all their time visualizing things and is super visual and explaining things with detailed drawings. But so I don't know what the disconnect is, but somewhere there when it hits geography, and then I'm completely reliant on a lot of people around me.